You are listening to the story on the Midnight Story Bureau YouTube channel. The following is the Reverend Insanity series. Episode 9. Chapter 81, Second Transformation. Initial Stage. The sound of footsteps grew closer and closer. Soon, the dark green bushes beside the slope parted sharply, and a tall, burly man emerged from the mountainside, appearing in Fang Yuan's sight. He had short, black hair, each strand strong and straight. He was bare-chested, with a broad back and shoulders. His skin a deep reddish hue. He was nearly 2 meters tall, even in the cold late autumn. He felt like a walking furnace, as if every breath he took could increase the surrounding temperature. At his side hung the corpses of a group of wild animals, foxes, rabbits, wild chickens, and even the old wolf that had just left. Seeing Fang Yuan, he was slightly startled, then quickly walked past him. Gu Yueqi Shan. Watching the man's retreating figure, a name flashed through Fang Yuan's mind. This person is a representative figure of the Qi family, possessing a high-level second-stage cultivation. Moreover, his experiences bear some resemblance to Fang Yuan's. He also possesses extraordinary talent. As a child, he was incredibly strong, accidentally killing an adult servant at 15, and at 12, he could easily throw heavy millstones like discs. At that time, he was highly regarded by his clansmen, considered to have top-tier aptitude. However, after the awakening ceremony, his aptitude was measured to be only second-tier. His inherently arrogant and dismissive nature changed after this incident, making him remarkably calm and composed. Although he was only second-tier, he was still the top student in their class. After a year of study, he left the academy and diligently worked hard, quickly demonstrating his talent. Now, in just a few years, he has become an elite among the second-stage Gu masters of the family. Happiness cannot teach people the truth of life, only suffering can. In the clan, 15-year-old youths begin participating in the awakening ceremony, entering the academy. At 16, they graduate from the academy, forming 5-person teams to complete clan missions. They can also choose to inherit the family fortune and have the right to move out on their own. From 16 onwards, they work hard, their cultivation constantly improving, the danger of the missions constantly increasing, and their status constantly rising. Some die, some live, some are injured and crippled, their cultivation decreasing, clinging to a mere existence. Others undergo tempering, becoming third-rank Gu masters, rising to the clan elders, and becoming high-ranking members. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed, and he envisioned many things. The further one progresses in cultivation, the more difficult it becomes, with the difficulty of advancement skyrocketing exponentially. Furthermore, in this harsh survival environment, those who can truly advance to the third stage are becoming even rarer. Besides, winter is approaching, and I've almost been in the academy for a year. Each class has 2 important examinations. The first is the mid-year examination, the content of which varies each year, and the second is the end-of-year examination, the content of which remains the same, a duel in the arena every year. After that, I can't stay in the academy dormitory anymore. I'll have to move out. Move out? Where will he live? Fang Yuan couldn't possibly live with his uncle and aunt. They'd even wish he did. In this world, 16 is considered adulthood, the age of independence. Moreover, Fang Yuan has many secrets. He absolutely must live alone. In my previous life, when I left the academy, I was only at the mid-stage of the first rank. This life is much better. By then, I will surely be at the peak of the first rank. However, achieving this with my B-grade aptitude wasn't without a price. I've spent a large amount of primeval stones along the way. Fang Yuan's eyebrows furrowed in worry. He didn't have many primeval stones left. With limited aptitude, the primeval stones he spent on cultivation far exceeded those of Fang Zheng, Qi Cheng, and Mo Bei. He alone raised 6 Gu. Besides that, using wineworms for refining, nurturing his apertures, and using white silk goo to strengthen his power, etc., all required the consumption of true essence. After his true essence was depleted, the recovery speed of his B-grade aptitude alone was naturally insufficient to meet his needs. He had no choice but to use primeval stones, absorbing the natural true essence within him to replenish it. Fortunately, he possessed the spring and autumn cicada, and had twice obtained goo from the earth treasury flower, thus saving him the expense of refining goo worms, which made his life a little easier. However, after leaving the academy, he would need to rent a room and buy some household items. After reaching the peak, he would have to attempt the second transformation, a process that would consume a large amount of goo worms. After the second transformation, he would also have to combine goo worms, each combination being a luxurious expense. These expenses alone, coupled with his already dire financial situation, were already too much for him to bear. Moreover, even if he could afford all of this, he would still have to continue raising goo worms and cultivating. If he hadn't used wild boar tusks to exchange for a considerable amount of goo worms, significantly reducing the pressure during the mid-year examination, he wouldn't have been able to endure it now. Primordial stones. Primal stones. The Huaju practitioner's lineage doesn't provide primal stones, which is a real shame. Extorting primal stones from fellow students is the most important form of assistance. However, after students leave the academy's allowance will stop, and I can't continue extorting anymore. But the first place in the year-end examination seems to be rewarded with 150 primal stones. Fang Yuan thought to himself. If he could achieve first place with 150 primal stones, his immense financial pressure could be eased a little. Time flew by. Autumn gave way to winter. In the academy's training ground, 3 arenas had been erected. Beside the arenas, against the bamboo walls of the training ground, tents had been set up, with long tables and chairs. At this time, the academy's elders, the clan chief, and several other elders were sitting under the tents. A light snowfall was falling. 57 students stood neatly in the courtyard, their noses reddened from the cold, hot air escaping from their nostrils with each breath. The academy elder announced loudly, "In the blink of an eye, a year has passed. During this year, you have all been trained in the academy and have begun to develop the qualities of a goo master. Tomorrow is the final competition on the arena, testing the fruits of your learning. At that time, not only will the clan chief and the elders be present, but your seniors and fellow students will also be observing from the sidelines, selecting those with outstanding performance to be recruited into different groups. Your performance tomorrow will greatly impact your future. The first place winner will not only be rewarded with 150 spirit stones, but also have priority in choosing goo insects. Now, you will begin your final cultivation test in the academy." After saying these words, the elder of the academy nodded to a goo master standing beside him. The middle-aged female goo master, receiving the signal, read out the first name from the list, Gu Yue Jinju. A young woman with a tense expression stepped out from the crowd and approached the goo master. The goo master placed her hand on the young woman's stomach, closed her eyes to sense something, then opened her eyes and announced, Gu Yue Jinju, first stage intermediate level. Next, Gu Yue Peng. Another young man went up for the test and then came down, returning to the line. Their expressions varied, some disappointed, others joyful. The worst performers were, of course, first stage beginner level, all of them young men with top-tier aptitude, without exception. The vast majority of the rest were first stage intermediate level, a few of them with top-tier aptitude, and most with bottom-tier aptitude. Gu Yue Chi Cheng, the middle-aged female goo master, called out the name. Among the group of his peers, Gu Yue Chi Cheng, the shortest of them all, puffed out his chest and stepped forward. After a brief examination, the middle-aged female goo master opened her eyes. Gu Yue Chi Cheng. Peak first rank. Since the examination began, this was the first peak first rank Gu master. The elders sitting around couldn't help but nod slightly. One elder recognized him and whispered, "This grandson of Gu Yue Chi Lian has a talent of the second rank." No wonder. Outside the tent, the young men had already begun whispering. Chi Cheng is peak first rank. I wonder if Mo Bei is the same. Those two are sworn enemies. Those who can reach the peak are all of the second or third rank. Oh, we poor fellows of the third and fourth ranks can't even dream of it. HMPH. Gu Yue Mo Bei snorted coldly, feeling uncomfortable at the smug expression on Chi Cheng's face. Gu Yue Fang Zheng clenched his fists, his lips tightly pressed together, as if suppressing something. Gu Yue Mo Bei. Soon after, the examining Gu master called out. Mo Bei, with his long, horse-like face, strode forward. Gu Yue Mo Bei, peak first rank. In these words, he turned back, not wanting to be outdone, and glanced at Gu Yue Chi Cheng along the way. The examination continued, the snow falling less and less, finally stopping. The air was cold yet refreshing. Gu Yue Fang Yuan, the middle-aged female Gu master called out. Fang Yuan stepped forward, his expression unchanged. After a moment, the female Gu master opened her eyes, observing Fang Yuan with a hint of surprise, and exclaimed, Gu Yue Fang Yuan, peak first rank. Peak first rank, is there a mistake? Fang Yuan has actually cultivated to that level. The teenagers were astonished. He encountered some good-for-nothing, with the wineworm helping him cultivate his aptitude. Although he only has a B-grade aptitude, compared to B-grade and A-grade aptitudes, he's still not at a disadvantage, a few teenagers said enviously. Especially some teenagers who also had B-grade aptitude. Their voices were bitter as they consoled themselves, this is nothing. The wineworm can't refine second stage true essence. So Fang Yuan won't have this advantage anymore. Even though he's at the peak, he only has a B-grade aptitude. Nothing to worry about. Mo Bei and Chi Cheng glanced at Fang Yuan but quickly shifted their gaze to Fang Zheng, who was still standing in the line. In their hearts, Fang Zheng, with his A-grade aptitude, was the real competitor. Brother, you've really surprised me a little. But next, watch carefully. Fang Zheng watched Fang Yuan descend step by step, his eyes sparkling, his face radiating immense anticipation. Quote, Gu Yue Fang Zheng, the female Gu master's voice rang out leisurely. Is that the A-grade genius? Immediately, the elders' gazes focused on Fang Zheng. Fang Zheng stepped out from the crowd. He could feel the pressure from these gazes, which made him feel a little nervous. But when he saw Clan Chief Gu Yue Bo smiling at him, the tension in his heart instantly dissipated. He walked to the middle-aged female Gu master. The female Gu master closed her eyes, then suddenly opened them, exclaiming in astonishment, Gu Yue Fang Zheng, cultivation, second transformation, early stage. The young men immediately erupted in commotion. What? He's reached the second transformation. He truly lives up to his reputation as an A-grade genius. Excellent. With this, Mo Bei, Chi Cheng, and Fang Yuan will all be left far behind by him. This Fang Zheng. For a moment, Mo Bei and Chi Cheng both stared at Fang Zheng in awe. Ha ha ha, even higher than in his previous life. Fang Yuan lowered his eyelids and chuckled. He wasn't too surprised. He had vaguely guessed the result of this test from Fang Zheng's expression. He still has the A-grade talent. He's truly the hope of our clan. It's still thanks to the clan leader's training. The elders praised him in unison. For a moment, Fang Zheng became the focus of everyone's attention. 6 months ago, Gu Yue Bo gave him a jade skin Gu, telling him to be the first to advance to the second rank. He had done it. Clan leader, I haven't let you down. I've done it. From now on, I can achieve even more. gain even more recognition from the elders, and earn even more acknowledgement from those around me. Brother, you've been left behind by me. You're no longer a shadow in my heart. I, Gu Yue Fang Zheng, am no longer the Gu Yue Fang Zheng of the past. Fang Zheng exclaimed excitedly in his heart, his eyes gleaming with a brilliant light. And this kind of light is called confidence. Chapter 82, Year-End Examination. After the snow stopped falling, the sky naturally cleared. Early in the morning, a steady stream of Gu masters entered the academy. The annual year-end examination is here again. Ha ha ha. The memories of leaving the academy decades ago are still vividly clear. A middle-aged male Gu master with long, flowing green hair stood at the academy entrance, sighing. Leader, hurry up and go in. You're so sentimental. A young female Gu master stood beside him, her lips like blood, her hands in her pockets, a blade of grass in her mouth, her eyes disdainful. Ha ha ha. Yao Hong, don't be impatient, we'll get in sooner or later. There's no need to rush. Anyway, the clan leader has already taken care of us. And this year's new members have long been decided. The green-haired male Gu master laughed. Is that Fang Zheng, the genius of the A grade? The female Gu master, named Gu Yue Yao Hong, let out a disgruntled "Mom," saying, isn't the clan leader's intention to have my own group act as nannies? But this nanny task isn't easy to complete. The green-haired male Gu master sighed. Forget it, let's go inside and talk about it later. As time passed, more and more Gu masters entered the academy gates and stood in the training ground. These Gu masters were male and female, some young, some middle-aged, and even some elderly. After completing a year of training in the academy, Gu masters would go out, form groups, and complete tasks assigned by their clans. The Gu masters who came to the training ground were representatives of their groups, observing the performance of the students, and if they were satisfied, they would recruit them into their own groups. For the groups, this was a way to recruit new blood and expand their strength. For new members joining the group, under the guidance and direction of the older members, they can quickly adapt to the new environment, complete family tasks more efficiently, and reduce casualties. As the sun slowly rose, the students entered the courtyard one after another. There are so many people today, the young men exclaimed. Look, it's Lord King Shu. He's the top-ranked second-rank Gu master in our Gu Yue mountain village, and he's famously gentle. Someone exclaimed, pointing to the green-haired male Gu master. Quote, Senior Qi Shan is here too. Next to him is Miss Mo Yan of the Mo family. King Shu, Qi Shan, and Mo Yan were shining stars among the Gu masters. The students all knew them well. Oh, I couldn't get into the group of the three seniors. I only have mediocre talent. And my lifebound Gu is just a Wen Ti Zhu. I can only be a support Gu master in the future. A young man sighed. Me, I got in touch through connections. He's the adopted son of my uncle's cousin's older sister. ... While the students were observing these Gu masters, King Shu, Qi Shan, and Mo Yan were also simultaneously observing these students. Oh, there are two Gu Yue Fang Zhengs. Yao Hong exclaimed in surprise upon seeing Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng among the group. The green-haired male Gu master Gu Yue King Shu sighed helplessly. Didn't you see the Zi Liao I gave you yesterday? Fang Zheng has a twin brother. They look exactly alike. But his brother only has a C-grade aptitude. Quote, I didn't expect that. Ah, I think I've heard of him before. Isn't he the Fang Yuan who wrote the poem back then? Should we include him? Yao Hong suddenly slapped his forehead, speaking as he thought of it. Fan Tu shook her head slightly. The clan leader specifically mentioned not accepting him, seemingly wanting to observe something. Moreover, the relationship between these two brothers isn't harmonious. Even if we tried to recruit him, Fang Yuan probably wouldn't join. Yao Hong disagreed, pouting. Among all the small groups, we're recognized as number one. Joining us means a bright future. Any student would be tempted. How could he possibly be unwilling? Fan Tu chuckled. Softly, that's because you don't know. Why don't you look at the Zi Liao information, data, I gave you first? At this moment, the clan leader Gu Yue Bo, the current elder Gu Yue Qi Lian, and Gu Yue Mo Chen entered one after another. They went into the tent and sat down. This year, not only did the clan leader personally come, but also the two elders Qi Lian and Mo Chen. Seeing this, both the students and the official Gu masters were slightly agitated. They had never seen such a situation before. This is nothing unusual. Both Qi Lian and Mo Chen's grandsons are in this class. Fang Zheng is the successor the clan leader is cultivating, a seed of hope to counter Bai Ningbing in the future. Of course, the clan leader has to keep a close eye on him. The crowd murmured excitedly. Brother, you must perform well. Mo Yan looked at Mo Bei in the crowd, muttering to herself. Her group had the largest number of members and the biggest scale, with the Gu masters surrounding her in a circle, making her imposing presence even more apparent. Meanwhile, her sworn enemy, Gu Yue Qi Shan from the Qi family, stood alone. His tall, imposing figure towered above everyone else, like a red tower, standing out prominently in the crowd. He merely observed Chicheng for a moment before averting his gaze. After the clan leader gave a brief speech, the year-end examination began. Battles commenced simultaneously on 3 arenas. Immediately, cheers, shouts, the sound of flying crescent blades, the clash of fists and kicks, and the chatter of the Gu masters below the arenas mingled together. The standards for martial arts this year are quite high, aren't they? Not long after, Yao Hong noticed the difference. Ha ha ha, it's all thanks to Fang Yuan. Gu Yue King Shu chuckled. What do you mean? Yao Hong was puzzled. King Shu explained, and Yao Hong couldn't help but marvel. This Fang Yuan kid is really bold. Even a bit arrogant. Ha ha, he even bullies his own younger brother. How interesting. She looked towards Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng in the crowd, wondering, who is the older brother and who is the younger brother? The next match, Gu Yue Jinzhu versus Gu Yue Mo Bei. On the arena, the presiding Gu master shouted loudly. Gu Yue Mo Bei leaped up, while Gu Yue Jinzhu, with a grim expression, ascended the steps. They exchanged a respectful bow, and without much further ado, directly engaged in combat. In an instant, pale blue crescent blades flew through the air. Both sides continuously fired crescent blades, constantly moving and dodging. Although Jinzhu was a girl, her basic skills were quite solid, unexpectedly allowing her to fight Mo Bei to a draw for a short time. However, as time passed, her stamina gradually diminished, and she fell into a disadvantageous position. Finally, she was drenched in sweat, exhausted, and had to surrender. Mo Bei, on the other hand, remained unfazed, not blushing or breathing heavily as before. A Gu worm that enhances endurance. Perhaps it's the Huang Luo Tian Niu Gu. Below the arena, Fang Yuan observed, immediately discerning Gu Yue Mo Bei's true strength. Fang Yuan had 6 Gu worms in his possession, but that was a special case. Usually, those of the same age only had 2 Gu worms each. This wasn't just due to the economic pressure of raising Gu worms, but also because using them required constant practice and experience accumulation. Too many is unsustainable. For students just beginning to learn Gu worms and cultivating as Gu masters, 2 Gu worms were enough for practice. Only in exceptional cases like Fang Yuan, with his rich experience from his previous life, could he quickly master and use almost any Gu worm he acquired. The examination continued. Damn it, jumping around like a rabbit. On another arena, a young man angrily shouted, Gu Yue Qi Cheng, are you even a man? Do you dare come here and fight me barehanded? Mother, only a fool would dare to come near and fight you hand to hand. On the arena, Gu Yue Qi Cheng sneered disdainfully. He relied on the Chi Wan Chu Chu Gu to leap and jump. His body incredibly agile. His opponent, however, only had a Hua Shi Gu, which, although it could temporarily boost his strength by 1 level, was a hero with no place to use its power. Qi Cheng, being shrewd, completely avoided close combat with him. In the end, his opponent was struck in the chest by Qi Cheng's crescent blade, losing too much blood and suffering defeat. The Gu healers below the arena immediately surrounded him, treating his injuries. As time passed, many students were eliminated, and at the same time, many young people began to show their talents. Qi Cheng, Fang Zheng, Fang Yuan, Fang Zheng. By midday, all the students with top-tier aptitude had been eliminated. Their aptitude was limited, and they all chose to choose support-type Gu insects. These Gu worms are quite suitable for tasks like production and transportation, but they offer very little assistance to Gu masters in combat. Junior sister, your lifebound Gu is a life-breathing herb. Our team needs a healing Gu master. Senior brother, I'd like to join your team. My lifebound Gu is the Moonlight Gu. I'm sorry, our team doesn't currently need an offensive Gu master. ... Each team had already begun recruiting new members, and the students had already chosen their teams. Actually, the battles on the arena weren't particularly exciting. After a few matches, there weren't many spectacular ones, but plenty of bland ones, because so many people chose the Moonlight Gu. Generally, when two sides fought, they would first shoot moon blades, and usually whoever's true essence was depleted would lose. If neither side had enough true essence, they would compete in martial arts. In short, someone would always fall. Whether students, ancient masters, or even a few elders, everyone watched half-heartedly, some even dozing off. As dusk fell, only a few students remained in the courtyard. Finally, it's almost over. A few ancient masters breathed a sigh of relief, trying to muster their spirits. Just then, an ancient master shouted, "Next match. Fang Zheng vs Gu Yue Mo Chen." Chapter 83. Sweeping away the powerful enemy. Fang Zheng reveals his style. Fang Zheng and Mo Bei walked onto the arena side by side. Fang Zheng, don't think that just because you have a second stage cultivation level you'll lose. Today I'm going to challenge someone of a higher level. Mo Bei gritted his teeth, his expression serious, silently encouraging himself. Facing Fang Zheng, who had a second stage cultivation level, he truly felt immense pressure. "Come on," Fang Zheng shouted softly, suddenly charging forward. Mo Bei was startled. Fang Zheng's moves were unusual. Usually, he would talk first, greet someone, and then attack. This time, he immediately charged forward, intending to engage in a fistfight. Doesn't he fear being injured by my crescent blade during a fistfight? Mo Bei was very puzzled. Of course, he wasn't thinking of Fang Zheng's safety, but rather he knew that if he and Fang Zheng fought at close range, at such close proximity, he wouldn't be able to dodge Fang Zheng's crescent blade. Mo Bei hastily retreated, trying to maintain distance, while simultaneously flicking his wrist to conjure a crescent blade. Fang Zheng remained calm, somersaulting forward as the crescent blade whizzed past, and he charged forward again. Simultaneously, a crescent blade appeared in his hand. Mo Bei, seeing the light condensing but not emitting in Fang Zheng's hand, felt a surge of tension and retreated repeatedly. Although he had diligently practiced basic martial arts and honed his crescent blade skills, compared to Fang Zheng, who had been personally trained by the clan leader, he was still somewhat inferior. Mo Bei couldn't adapt to this fighting style and immediately fell into a disadvantage. "Oh, that's quite interesting over there." This battle on the arena attracted many onlookers. To be able to get so close, this Fang Zheng really has some nerve. Now, Yao Hong can recognize Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng. Fang Yuan's expression is cold, exuding a mature, gloomy aura. Fang Zheng, on the other hand, is resolute, radiating a bright and warm demeanor. It must be thanks to the clan leader's teachings in duels between ordinary students. The distance between the two is usually 10 meters. Beyond this distance, the moonblade will dissipate. At a distance less than this, when the crescent moon-shaped projectile arrives, the student won't have time to react. Gu Yue King Shu's eyes lit up. Fang Zheng's combat distance has now decreased to 6 meters. And he's also adept at dodging the crescent moon projectile. It seems not only the clan leader values Fang Zheng, but he himself has also trained extremely hard. Little brother, Mo Yan looked at Mo Bei on the platform, who was being pushed into a disadvantageous position by Fang Zheng. Her face filled with worry. She really wanted to go up and help, to fight Fang Zheng. But Qi Shan's expression remained unchanged. He just watched and said nothing. Fang Zheng approached Mo Bei, and after closing the distance to 6 feet, he didn't get any closer but instead used Moonlight Gu to fire. Mo Bei hastily reacted, his hands and feet flailing, narrowly avoiding being hit by the moonblade several times, putting him in extreme danger. Fang Zheng, on the other hand, was very excited. Even if he couldn't dodge, he still had the Jade Skin Gu as a trump card. As long as he activated the emerald green light, he could block the moonblades. Seeing Mo Bei being pressured like this, Fang Zheng couldn't help but recall past events. Under the moonlight, the clan chief had kindly taught him, holding his hand and guiding him through each dodging movement, wholeheartedly imparting all his experience. Clan chief, I will not let you down. Fang Zheng's eyes shone brightly, and he fought with even greater ferocity. Fang Zheng, you have excellent talent and are very diligent, enduring hardship in training. Such results are the product of your own hard work and dedication. This is all the result of your efforts. Keep going, Fang Zheng, with this spirit. Go forth, let your brilliance shine. Inside the tent, the clan chief was slightly moved, but outwardly he remained seated, a slight smile on his lips. Although Mo Bei struggled and resisted fiercely, after a moment, countless wounds appeared on his body, blood staining his clothes. Seeing this, the Gu master presiding over the match below the arena declared, "This match, Gu Yue Fang Zheng wins." "I haven't lost yet," Mo Bei stubbornly shouted, his whole body covered in blood, swaying precariously, but after struggling a few more times, he was still taken away by several Gu masters to be treated. Fighting at this level is already at the level of a year after graduation. A genius of the armor type. A genius is still a genius. I heard he was personally taught by the clan chief. How could he not be powerful? Seeing the result, the ancient masters below the arena sighed repeatedly. Gu Yue Fang Zheng panted heavily and descended from the arena. 3 ancient masters rushed over to treat him, and also provided him with free spirit stones to quickly recover his true essence. After a short rest, Fang Zheng fully recovered and climbed onto the arena again. This time, he would fight Gu Yue Qi Cheng. Qi Cheng looked at Fang Zheng, chuckled twice, and said, "Good, Fang Zheng, you defeated that brat from Mo Bei. Now I'll defeat you, killing 2 birds with 1 stone." He seemed extremely confident. Fang Zheng pursed his lips, said nothing, and continued to charge forward. Dragon ringing ancient technique. Qi Cheng's thoughts moved, and a red-orange light flashed on his 2 legs. He lightly jumped, instantly retreating 10 meters. As soon as Feng Qin approached, the distance between them widened. He. Qi Cheng laughed triumphantly. "Fang Zheng, you don't have any speed-enhancing goo worms. Relying solely on your legs, you can't possibly catch up to me. This arena may not be large, but it's enough for me to maneuver. Your tactics might work against Mo Bei, but they're useless against me." "Is that so?" Fang Zheng stopped abruptly. He stood still, his eyes shining brightly as he stared at Qi Cheng. A smile appeared on his face, his eyes radiating determination as he said loudly, "Although you can dodge like that, each time you use the Dragon Ring Gu, You'll consume a certain amount of true essence. You only have the bronze true essence of a peak first stage cultivator, while I have the crimson true essence of a second stage cultivator, lasting 3 times longer than you. Your talent is inferior to mine. So in the end, the one who runs out of true essence will be you. Qi Cheng's face turned pale. He only saw his advantages but failed to recognize his weaknesses. At this moment, he couldn't help but admit that Fang Zheng's words made sense, and his fighting spirit was instantly shattered. What? Fang Zheng has advanced to the second stage? The surrounding ancient masters exclaimed. The results of the cultivation test had just come out yesterday, and only a few knew about it. Most people were still unaware. A genius of the A-class is still a genius of the A-class. Impressive. This Fang Zheng could truly be the star of hope for our clan. Bai Ningbing of the Bai family is too strong. If Fang Zheng matures, he might be able to contend with Bai Ningbing. This kid is also ambitious. He has already cultivated to the second stage in the academy, and has such a solid foundation in basic techniques. This is rare. No wonder the clan leader has invested so much effort in him. Yao Hong whispered. Fan Tu also exclaimed. The clan leader's nurturing is only part of it. You shouldn't underestimate this young man. Since surviving the assassination attempt, he has diligently cultivated himself and worked incredibly hard. He is a promising talent, possessing both innate abilities and unwavering determination. If he can truly mature, I already feel my responsibility growing heavier. Ha ha ha. Clan leader Gu Yuebo couldn't help but laugh. He had previously analyzed Qi Cheng's personality weaknesses for Fang Zheng. Today, Fang Zheng had applied them in practice, which made Gu Yuebo extremely happy. It seems Fang Zheng is the top student of this class, said Gu Yue Mo Chen beside the clan leader. Gu Yue Qi Lian snorted coldly, staring intently at the arena. Of course, he wanted his nephew to win, otherwise, the Qi family would lose face. But things didn't always go as planned. On the arena, Qi Cheng's fighting spirit was shattered after officially engaging in combat with Fang Zheng. He failed to showcase his full potential and made many mistakes. Finally, Fang Zheng seized upon Qi Cheng's carelessness and knocked him off the platform. Gu Yue Fang Zheng wins, the presiding master announced. Gu Yue Qi Lian's face turned pale. Suddenly, Fang Zheng attracted countless attention, his reputation soaring. Fang Zheng has repeatedly defeated Mo Bei and Qi Cheng. He's both brave and cunning. It seems he'll be the first place this time. Someone sighed. That makes sense. I also think he's very capable. It's a pity he can't join our group. The groups select the students, and the students choose the groups. Outstanding talents like Fang Zheng have already been decided internally. Fang Zheng belongs to the clan leader's faction. Mo Bei and Qi Cheng are the future rulers of the Mo and Qi clans, respectively. It seems that in the future, the clan leader's faction will overshadow the 2 great elders in the Gu Yue tribe. Someone thought even more deeply. The other 2 students on the platform continued their next battle as before. Fang Zheng had already left the platform. He listened to the murmurs around him, his heart surging with emotion. He clearly felt himself transforming. He was different now, no longer the same as before. He was thrilled by the recognition, exhilarated by the praise, and satisfied by the affirmation of his own worth. As the east wind blew, a biting cold, he felt a warmth like spring arriving. The final match, Gu Yue Fang Zheng vs Gu Yue Fang Yuan. A moment later, a Gu master presiding over the arena loudly announced. Chapter 84, Cruel Trampling. The final battle, Gu Yue Fang Zheng vs Gu Yue Fang Yuan. Wow, how interesting. I didn't expect a brotherly duel in the end. Fang Zheng, the clan chief's smile faded slightly as he watched. The biggest shadow in your heart is your brother Fang Yuan. Defeat him, and you'll have the Crimson Iron True Essence, plus the Jade Skin Gu, giving you both offense and defense, A huge advantage. Shattering this shadow will bring you a new life. Finally, the final decisive battle arrived. The two brothers stood on the same arena, gazing at each other from afar. The setting sun was blood red. The twilight spread a luxurious carpet across the arena. Their faces were identical. The younger brother's fighting spirit burned, while the older brother's eyes were profound. "Brother," Fang Zheng clenched his fists, staring intently at Fang Yuan. His voice firm. "Give up, I'm already a second-rank cultivator. My red iron true essence is over 80%, while your bronze true essence is only 44%. You have no chance." Fang Yuan calmly looked at his younger brother. "You know my true essence so well. But don't say any more of this useless talk. If victory and defeat could be determined solely by the amount of true essence, then what's the point of fighting?" Fang Zheng was startled, then suddenly leaped up, the fighting spirit blazing in his eyes. In truth, deep down, he didn't want Fang Yuan to give up. But after all, Fang Yuan was his older brother, and both logically and emotionally, he should say something like that. If he didn't, it would seem too heartless. "If you insist, then I'll have to take action." Before he finished speaking, Fang Zheng charged towards Fang Yuan. That trick again. Below the arena, Mo Bei gritted his teeth at the sight. He resolved that after returning, he would definitely train hard and repay Fang Zheng tenfold for today's humiliation. "Fang Yuan is finished. He doesn't have the dragon ring goo like me." Ji Cheng crossed his arms and chuckled, seemingly gloating over Fang Yuan's misfortune. Fang Zheng rushed forward, instantly closing the distance to Fang Yuan, a halo of moonlight shining in his hand. Fang Yuan's expression was stoic, showing no change in his demeanor. He stood still, watching Fang Zheng approach rapidly. Only his right hand also slowly rippled with moonlight like a blue stream. Suddenly, Fang Yuan stomped his foot, leaping several steps. He didn't retreat but advanced, fiercely charging straight towards Fang Zheng. "Hey!" Fang Zheng was taken aback by Fang Yuan's attack, his heart racing with panic. He hastily fired a crescent blade. Fang Yuan, charging forward, suddenly spun around, the crescent blade narrowly missing his shoulder. His expression was cold, neither roaring nor ferocious, yet his silence exuded a chilling, all-out aura. Fang Zheng instinctively retreated repeatedly. His maximum distance was 6 feet. But now Fang Yuan was less than 5 feet away, forcing him to retreat to widen the gap. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Fang Zheng continuously flipped his right hand as he retreated, sending crescent blades flying out, trying to force Fang Yuan to back down. Fang Yuan took a series of precise, agile steps, each one narrowly dodging the incoming crescent blades. "This Fang Yuan is getting bolder and bolder," exclaimed Yao Hong. "This kind of battle truly shows a disregard for life and death." King Shu exclaimed in disbelief. "Another battle-crazed madman." Mo Yan gritted his teeth, glancing at Qi Shan not far away. Qi Shan still showed no expression as before, only his eyes flickered uncertainly. The noise among the crowd subsided, everyone intently watching the battle on the arena. The moonblades flew past Fang Yuan's side, occasionally reflecting a blue light on Fang Yuan's face. His cold expression remained unchanged. With each risky maneuver, he calmly dodged, his fighting talent fully displayed. The clan chief and elders outside the arena all had focused expressions. Ji Cheng and Mo Bei stared in astonishment at Fang Yuan, who was unbelievably dodging one moonblade after another. How on earth did he do it? A huge question mark lingered in the minds of countless students. HMPH. Fang Yuan has 500 years of combat experience. How could Fang Zheng, who was taught by a 4th-rank Gu master for a year, possibly compare? In Fang Yuan's eyes, Fang Zheng was as shallow as a clear stream, no matter how the stream flowed, in which direction, or at what bend it took. He could see right through to the bottom with a single glance. Each attack with the moon blade wasn't sudden. It required a process. Fang Zheng would always flip his wrist. This was an extremely clear indication. In Fang Yuan's eyes, every shoulder shake, every flick of his wrist, every stomp of Fang Zheng's foot provided him with a vast amount of information. Every intention of attack, retreat, or evasion, Fang Yuan could see through in an instant, even roughly guessing what Fang Zheng was thinking. At this moment, Fang Zheng's mind was filled with confusion. The darkness that Fang Yuan had cast over the past 10 years was rapidly spreading into a pitch-black night, plunging him into an abyss. His panic made him forget about the jade skin goo. Fang Yuan's fierce charge made him tense, suffocated him, and prevented him from thinking of anything else. This was the difference in experience. This was the true difference within. In Fang Yuan's view, this was even more important than the spring-autumn cicada, his greatest reliance. He didn't rely on the clan chief, the elders, his relatives, his friends, or even the goo worms. From the beginning, he relied only on himself. In this world, until now, only he himself was the most trustworthy. Friends and comrades were merely the weak concealing their incompetence, just excuses to wait for others to rescue them. Finally, he approached Fang Zheng. Thump! Fang Yuan landed a punch to Fang Zheng's stomach. Fang Zheng immediately doubled over. The force of the punch nearly made him vomit. He quickly raised his hands to protect his head, crouched low, and retreated a long step. In this critical moment, he displayed his solid basic skills. Where did he go? His eyes widened. Fang Zheng moved swiftly, peering through the gaps between his arms, searching for Fang Yuan's figure. Behind me, just as this thought crossed his mind, Fang Zheng felt a strong blow to his side. He instantly lost his balance and fell to the ground. However, Fang Zheng, having undergone rigorous training, used this to somersault on the ground, simultaneously shooting a crescent-shaped blade behind him. This move was a combat technique passed down to him by his clan leader. An ordinary person would likely have reacted too late to Fang Zheng's attack. And even if it didn't hit, it would certainly have forced him to retreat. But who was Fang Yuan? Even Gu Yuebo, with his experience, was no match for him. Fang Yuan moved swiftly but didn't pursue directly. Instead, he circled around to approach, and Fang Zheng's crescent blade, as expected, missed its target. Fang Zheng thought he had created some distance. He stood up, preparing to strike again, when he suddenly heard a whooshing sound. That's the sound of wind as a fist arrives. In this fleeting moment, Fang Zheng could only think of this. Immediately afterward, he was viciously punched in the ear by Fang Yuan's fist. Thump! He instantly felt his vision go dark, a powerful dizziness causing him to lose his balance and fall completely to the ground. He knelt on the ground for 2 breaths before regaining consciousness. After his vision slowly cleared, Fang Zheng saw Fang Yuan's feet standing in front of him. He immediately understood how ugly his situation was. He was kneeling on the ground like a dog, while Fang Yuan stood tall, looking down at him. Damn it! Fang Zheng was furious and tried to stand up. In front of everyone's watchful eyes, Fang Yuan raised his right foot and viciously stomped down. Bang! Fang Yuan slammed Fang Zheng's head down like a stone ball, making a resounding crash as he was kicked against the arena. Damn it! Fang Zheng screamed, trying to crawl back up. Fang Yuan coldly watched, then delivered another kick. Bang! Fang Zheng's head slammed against the arena. His scalp ripped open, blood gushing out. Damn it! Damn it! Fang Zheng gritted his teeth. His rage burning him, he tried to stand up again. Bang! Fang Yuan kicked down a 3rd time, stomping directly on his head without hesitation. The immense force pressed down, brutally pinning Fang Zheng's cheek to the arena. Fang Zheng's face contorted, and he gasped for breath. Unable to struggle, he felt as if a massive rock was pressing down on his head, no matter how much he struggled. The rock wouldn't budge. That's right, how could I forget I still have the moonlight goo? In the midst of the desperate situation, Fang Zheng suddenly had an idea, and remembered the moonlight goo. The moonlight in his right hand suddenly blazed brightly. But how could Fang Yuan not notice? With a small swish, Fang Yuan shot a moonblade directly into Fang Zheng's right hand. Ah! Fang Zheng immediately screamed in agony, the pain spreading and causing his body to tremble violently as if electrocuted. His hand was almost pierced through by Fang Yuan's attack, the white bone joints exposed, and the moonlight goo in his palm suffered a great blow, bringing him close to death. Chapter 85: Passion and Coldness. It seems those two brothers really aren't on good terms, Yao Hong muttered. This Fang Yuan is too cruel, to treat his own brother like that. Many people frowned unhappily. Fang Yuan is too ruthless, robbing us of our spirit stones for a whole year. Now his brother has been treated like this too. The students gritted their teeth. Fang Yuan's cold cruelty today fueled their shared hatred. Fang Zheng, stand up, down with Fang Yuan, someone shouted. Down with Fang Yuan, down with Fang Yuan. In an instant, countless young people began to respond. This Fang Yuan is truly a hateful person, Mo Yan snorted coldly, somewhat gloating. Fang Zheng, keep going, stand up, down with this devilish Fang Yuan. Fang Zheng, stand up, we believe in you. Fang Zheng, keep going, keep going. The crowd was exhilarated, each cheer echoing in Fang Zheng's ears. Ha, 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 ha. Fang Zheng gasped for breath, the cheers resonating in his heart, giving him an invisible strength. Images from the past flashed through his mind once again. On the main road, the tribesmen pointed and whispered. That's Fang Yuan, the future genius, not to be underestimated. Who's behind him? Ah, it must be Fang Yuan's younger brother. I don't know his name. ... His uncle and aunt smiled. Fang Yuan, the whole mountain village is talking about your latest poem. Excellent, your uncle and aunt are so proud of you. Fang Yuan waved his hand, his expression calm. It was just an impromptu composition, a sudden burst of emotion. His maternal uncle and aunt nodded repeatedly, saying to Fang Zheng, try to learn from your older brother. If you have even half the excellence of your older brother, we won't have to worry anymore. ... Under the moonlight, in the dark courtyard, Clan Chief Gu Yuebo looked at Fang Zheng and gently said, Fang Zheng, to have confidence, you must find yourself and believe in yourself. But, Clan Chief, Gu Yuebo patted his shoulder, encouragingly saying, the darkness in your heart is difficult for others to dispel for you. You can only rely on yourself. I look forward to that day. ... The night before the year-end examination, Shen Kui stood under the lamplight, her eyes gazing affectionately at Fang Zheng. Young master, I believe you will definitely achieve first place. I've always believed in this. Keep trying. ... The morning when we said goodbye. His maternal uncle and aunt stood at the door to see him off. Fang Zheng. After the year-end examination. You've left the academy. It's so good to see you've grown up. Go, let everyone see the excellence of the armored type. And then, in the dimly lit corner under the setting sun, a female classmate sobbed. Each time I only get 3 spirit stones as allowance. Fang Yuan stole 1, and I only have 2 left. I can't afford to keep this moonlight goo anymore. Fang Zheng's heart softened. These are my spirit stones. I'll lend them to you. The female classmate accepted the spirit stones, her eyes welling up with tears. Fang Zheng, you're so kind. Please, you must defeat your brother, so he can never do evil in the academy again. Fang Zheng fell silent. A group of classmates had appeared before him without him noticing. Fang Zheng, you have the armored type talent. You can definitely do it. Fang Yuan is so hateful, always bullying us. You are our only hope. Fang Zheng, from today onwards, We will follow you. We all support you. Everyone. Fang Zheng looked around, seeing the eager, expectant eyes of everyone. For a moment, he was so moved he couldn't speak. Everyone. Everyone is still waiting for me. My classmates, my uncle and aunt, Shen Kui, and even the clan leader. Everyone is waiting for me, watching me, supporting me. How can I lose? How can I fall here? How can I? Thump, 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 thump. His heart pounded like a drum in his chest, and Fang Zheng's eyes flashed brightly. I cannot fall here. I must dispel the darkness. I must stand up. Fang Zheng clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, the pain had left him. He felt as if a mighty lion had awakened from its slumber within his chest. Roaring with fury, his blood surged through his veins. Stand up, stand up. Break through the darkness, break through the gloom. Ah! Fang Zheng roared, a shimmering green light beginning to emanate from his body. What is that? The crowd fell silent. Unexpectedly, it's the jade skin ancient artifact, someone exclaimed. Boom! The students erupted, their shouts reaching the heavens. Fang Zheng, keep going. Fang Zheng, we support you. Finally, only one slogan remained. Stand up. Stand up. Everyone, I heard your cheers. Fang Zheng clenched his fists, almost grinding his teeth. Fang Yuan's pressure didn't seem too great. He slowly and steadily rose. The cheers grew louder and louder. What overflowing passion! The tide is about to turn. The Gu masters, hearing the shouts and cheers, also showed signs of emotion. That's right, Fang Zheng, that's it, stand up, cast aside the past, break free from the darkness. The one who stands up is a completely new person. The clan leader's eyes shone, silently encouraging Fang Zheng. It could be the jade skin Gu. Fang Yuan lowered his eyelids. He withdrew his foot, watching Fang Zheng rise step by step, the light of the jade skin Gu illuminating his face in a bluish-green hue. Fang Zheng had always kept this jade skin Gu a secret, never revealing it, so outsiders were still unaware. Fang Zheng has risen. The cheers erupted like a raging flood, shattering everything in their path. He's standing up, the clan chief's eyes blazed, and he couldn't restrain himself from rising from his seat. At this moment, he saw a powerful armored genius rising up. He saw the bright future of the ancient moon tribe. I've stood up, brother, I must defeat you. A fighting spirit burned in Fang Zheng's eyes. His entire body enveloped in a shimmering emerald green light, as if he were wearing a magnificent jade armor. Wow, this defense, even a moonblade can't penetrate it. It seems Fang Zheng is sure to win. Yao Hong raised his eyebrows and whistled. Exactly, even if Fang Yuan uses a moonblade enhanced by the little light Gu to attack this defense, at most it will only cause Fang Zheng's true essence to be consumed twice as much. Fang Yuan is absolutely no match for Fang Zheng. After this battle, Fang Zheng will rise. King Shu smiled. Fang Zheng possesses an ancient jade skin, yet he only used it now. It seems Fang Yuan's sudden and fierce charge earlier had left him stunned. But now victory is within his grasp. Mo Yan watched indifferently, his eyes flashing with uncertainty. Time seemed to stop at this moment. On the arena, the two brothers stood facing each other. The distance between them was both so close and yet so far. Fang Zheng's face was resolute, while Fang Yuan's remained as cold as before. Brother, he calmly looked at Fang Zheng, a faint smile playing on his lips. Want to defeat me? You're still far from it. He raised his right fist high, his arm was bent out like a bow. Brother, you're definitely going to lose. Fang Zheng looked at Fang Yuan raising his fist, feeling a little amused. As long as my own true essence is abundant, even if the moonblade is enhanced by the little light Gu, it can't break through this defense. Let alone your fist, unless you use the flower arrow Gu or the savage strength heavenly ox Gu to greatly increase your strength. But even so, You'd still need a defensive goo worm. Fang Yuan said nothing, his fist delivering the most direct answer. Immediately afterward, his fist roared through the air and viciously struck Fang Zheng's cheek. Boom! A loud sound echoed, blood splattered, and the jade-colored light shattered into pieces, like shards of glass flying through the air and disappearing in an instant. What? Suddenly faced with such a fierce attack, Fang Zheng was stunned, his neck almost broken, and he staggered backward. Fang Yuan pursued closely, following step by step. This time, he raised his left fist, leaned back, and punched forward. Boom! The other half of Fang Zheng's face also took a heavy blow. His head snapping back, blood and shattered jade-colored light scattering everywhere. He quickly retreated 3 steps, his ears ringing, a dizziness 10 times worse than before. How could this happen? His vision went dark, and he fell backward. Boom! Fang Zheng fell to the ground, the azure light on his body dissipating, and he immediately lost consciousness. The cheers and applause ceased. The joy and excitement of the students still lingered on their faces, not yet having time to change. The entire martial arts arena fell silent. Fang Yuan's fists were a bloody mess. Even the white bones of his fingers were visible. Drops of fresh blood dripped onto the arena. A chilling east wind blew, freezing all the warm blood. Fang Yuan's hair trembled slightly in the wind. He stood upright on the arena, as if the severely injured man with the half-crippled arm wasn't him. His cold gaze remained calm as before. Slowly glancing around, the crowd was silent. Inside the tent, the clan chief was still standing, staring at him with wide eyes and an open mouth. "I'm sorry, I've disappointed you all," Fang Yuan said softly. Chapter 86, Doubt and Investigation. On the arena, Fang Zheng lay unconscious on the ground, motionless. Fang Yuan stood in the center of the arena, his face as cold as before. After a brief silence, the entire arena erupted in commotion. How could this be? Someone clutched their head, their face filled with disbelief. 2 punches shattered the jade skin goo's defenses. This, someone stared. Speechless. Too brutal. He even destroyed the jade light with his frenzied attacks. Doesn't he feel any pain? The female goo masters gasped. He didn't use any defensive goo insects. Just directly attacked with his bare hands. This is truly self-destructive. Even the male goo masters, seeing Fang Yuan's severely injured hands, twitched their eyes in shock at his ruthlessness. Being cruel to others is easy. Being cruel to oneself is difficult. Fang Yuan shattered the jade skin goo's defenses with his bare hands. He wasn't just ruthless to his own younger brother, he was even more ruthless to himself. "I'll go take a look." The academy elder couldn't sit still any longer. Leaving this remark behind, he leaped onto the arena. First, he knelt down and checked on the unconscious Fang Zheng, then breathed a sigh of relief. Fang Zheng wasn't seriously injured, only suffering a severe blow to the head, causing him to fall unconscious. It's hard to imagine that someone with the jade skin goo's defenses could be struck so hard with bare hands. The academy elder was secretly horrified. He raised his head, shifting his gaze to Fang Yuan, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. "Fang Yuan, let me treat you." The academy elder stood up, took a few steps to Fang Yuan's side, and directly grabbed Fang Yuan's forearm. Fang Yuan's injuries on both hands were severe. Not only was his flesh and blood mixed together, but even the white bones of his hands were exposed. Because of the intense attack, visible cracks had appeared on the surface of his finger bones. How much pain must this be? Yet Fang Yuan didn't even flinch. Even the academy elder trembled at the sight of such injuries. His tone became somewhat complex as he said to Fang Yuan, "Bear with it for a while. The treatment will be very itchy and extremely painful." Then, the 5 fingers of his right hand opened, emitting a pale blue moonlight. The moonlight grew brighter and brighter, illuminating the elder's right hand until it became semi-transparent. At first glance, The elder's entire right hand seemed to have transformed into a block of deep blue jade. The blood vessels and joints inside also appeared to have turned into jade. The elder gently placed his right hand over Fang Yuan's injured fist. It felt like a block of ice-cold jade touching a wound mixed with blood and flesh. Fang Yuan felt a sharp pain, but he gritted his teeth, not uttering a sound. The elder's hand radiated gentle moonlight, nourishing Fang Yuan's wound. The cracks in his finger bones quickly closed, and the torn skin and flesh rapidly regenerated, completely healing. Fang Yuan immediately felt an intense itch, and he struggled to suppress it, gasping for breath. The elder's expression remained calm, taking advantage of healing Fang Yuan. He separated a stream of spiritual energy, tracing along his arm and into his aperture. Inside the aperture, dark green bronze-colored true essence rippled in waves. A plump, white wine worm swam freely in the sea of essence. The four walls of the aperture were made of interconnected white glass, clearly revealing Fang Yuan's peak first-stage cultivation. The elder did not withdraw his spiritual energy but instead swept over Fang Yuan's entire body. Finally, on the skin of Fang Yuan's right palm, the old man discovered the moonlight goo and the little light goo. There are no other goo worms. Could Fang Yuan really have broken through the jade skin goo's defenses with his bare hands using only his own strength? Such power far surpasses that of an adult mortal. He's only 15 years old. How could he possess such strength? The old man's eyes flashed with suspicion. Old man, thank you for your treatment. Fang Yuan withdrew his hand from the old man's, shaking it slightly. Although it was still a little sore, the wound had closed. If it were on Earth, such an injury would likely require 1 or 2 years of recovery, and could leave serious aftereffects. This is the wonder of this world. Now, Fang Yuan's hands are completely healed, only lacking strength when moving or clenching his fists. After 7 or 8 days, this slight weakness will disappear. However, Fang Yuan didn't feel grateful to the old man. This injury of his could be healed by other Gu masters, and he knew clearly that the true purpose of the Academy elders was to use this opportunity to test his aptitude. Fang Yuan had anticipated this long ago. The white silk goo and the jade skin goo had both been placed in the second cave. As for the spring-autumn cicada, it was at the 6th rank, and if it wanted to hide, even Gu Yue Bo, with his 4th rank cultivation, might not be able to investigate it himself. The Academy elders found nothing, and their eyebrows furrowed slightly, although they still had many doubts. In front of so many people, they couldn't ask directly. Fang Yuan, you performed very well, keep it up. Finally, the Academy elder patted Fang Yuan on the shoulder and loudly announced, in this year's year-end examination, Fang Yuan has won first place. From the moment the Academy elder stepped onto the stage, everyone below had been silently watching. Now, upon hearing the elder's announcement of the result, everyone started to stir again. I didn't expect Fang Yuan to be the one laughing in the end. He's just a low-level cultivator, yet he defeated Fang Zheng, a second-rank cultivator with the jade skin goo. Did he cheat? Probably not. The Academy elder personally treated and examined him just now. He didn't find any problems either. Fang Yuan probably didn't cheat. Fang Yuan's hands are severely injured. That's understandable, but for a 15-year-old boy, such strength far surpasses that of an adult. Isn't that suspicious? What's so incomprehensible? After all, there are a few prodigies in this world with extraordinary talents, either possessing immense strength or precocious intelligence. Actually, Fang Yuan's strength isn't that terrifying yet. Think about someone else, the Gu master said, gesturing towards Qi Shan, who stood proudly among the crowd. Someone immediately realized, that's right. When Qi Shan was just a few years old, he already possessed strength greater than an adult. Could Fang Yuan also be such a prodigy? Quote, that's right. When Fang Yuan was a child, he composed several poems. and they were even rumored throughout the mountain village. Everyone originally thought he was a top-tier talent. But unexpectedly, he was only a bottom-tier talent. But it seems that heaven has other intentions. It has compensated him somewhat in terms of strength. But ultimately, he's still just a B-grade cultivator. If he were a B-grade cultivator, he'd probably be another Chishan. But HMPH. He's not really that talented. Cultivating Gu still requires focusing on aptitude. If he had a black needle Gu, he could cultivate even greater strength than him. So he's nothing special, he can only be arrogant for a while. Someone shrugged, their tone dismissive. Fang Yuan descended from the arena, listening intently to everyone's chatter, a faint smile playing on his lips. Fang Yuan had created a perfect excuse for the origin of the wineworm. But once the jade skin Gu was exposed, he truly wouldn't be able to explain it. Therefore, he had to keep it hidden, unable to use it in front of so many people. As for everyone's thoughts and explanations, that was precisely the direction of public opinion Fang Yuan wanted to steer. Ultimately, even if the family's high-ranking members remained suspicious, their only suspicion lay in the mysterious backing behind him. 6 months ago, I took a risk and used wild boar tusks to create a second layer of protection. It's starting to take effect now. Fang Yuan's eyes were as deep as a pool of water. Clan leader Gu Yue didn't sit down. He remained standing, frowning. Indeed, things had developed beyond his expectations. He didn't care that Fang Yuan had won first place. It was just first place in a small year-end examination. He didn't take it seriously at all. What he was worried about was Gu Yue Fang Zheng. Undoubtedly, today's blow was far too severe for Fang Zheng. If Fang Zheng had been defeated by Fang Yuan from the start, it would have been one thing. But to be knocked down by Fang Yuan's vicious punches just when he was full of energy and his hopes were high. Such psychological trauma could have a significant impact on him. Under my guidance and arrangements, Fang Zheng led the way in advancing to higher stages, reaching peak and then second stage, continuously accumulating success and building confidence. However, after this battle, perhaps that confidence will vanish into thin air. Alas, all my hard work has gone to waste. Gu Yuebo sighed inwardly, and naturally, he also felt a little annoyed with Fang Yuan. If Fang Yuan had lost to Fang Zheng, everything would have been fine. But Fang Yuan just won. This is truly a bit awful. Not only the clan leader, but the other elders' gazes were also extremely heavy and complex. Fang Yuan actually has such strength. Could he be like Qi Shan, a prodigy? Besides, Fang Yuan was already strange, able to compose poetry before he was 10 years old. As he continues to grow, a little strength is nothing. But there's also a possibility that it was caused by humans. Behind Fang Yuan, there's a mysterious backer. Perhaps this person is pulling the strings to help him. Who exactly is this backer of his? The elders' hearts were churning with turmoil, yet their faces showed no unusual change. Clan leader Gu Yuebo remained silent for a moment before suddenly smiling and saying, "Fang Yuan, you won first place with your B-grade aptitude. A commendable act unprecedented in history. The first-place winner will receive a reward of 100 primeval stones and priority in choosing Gu worms. Now, I want to reward you on the spot. You can choose any small group to join. No matter which group you want. Just say it here and you can join." Upon hearing this, the second-rank Gu masters and the students all looked at Fang Yuan with envy. There were differences among the subgroups. Joining an elite subgroup meant a bright future. And Gu Yuebo's reward was truly generous. Although I'm temporarily in charge of this reward, I believe all the elders present here will agree. Gu Yuebo's smile deepened as he glanced at the elders beside him. The elders, led by Gu Yue Qi Lian and Gu Yue Mo Chen, all wore somber expressions. At most, some frowned, but none intervened. Fang Yuan was startled. Trouble was brewing. Chapter 87. Attitude is the mask of the heart. Fang Yuan realized the ulterior motive behind this action. It was a subtle probing from the clan leader. He glanced around the training ground. The three most elite groups in the entire clan were present: the clan leader's faction, the King Shu group; the Qi family's faction, the Qi Shan group; and the Mo family's faction, the Mo Yan group. For an ordinary student, joining any of these three groups would mean having powerful backing and a bright future. However, for Fang Yuan, it was the complete opposite. In the hearts of the clan's high-ranking members, he was already labeled as belonging to a powerful force. Rashly joining any of these three groups would cause significant trouble. For example, if he joined the Qi Shan group, the Qi family would naturally understand they hadn't recruited Fang Yuan. Their first thought would be, Fang Yuan is clearly someone else's pawn. What are their intentions in joining the group? Their next thought would be, this mysterious force that recruited Fang Yuan so early has broken the rules. Now that Fang Yuan has joined their side, these elders will surely think they recruited Fang Yuan prematurely. Wouldn't that mean they'll be unjustly blamed? No, they must capture Fang Yuan, monitor him, investigate him. They must obtain concrete evidence and uncover that mysterious backer. But the reality is, Fang Yuan has no backer at all. If I join one of these three small groups, it's tantamount to offending one of the three largest forces in the family. Absolutely not. Originally, I wanted to quietly join Jiang He's group, but Jiang He's group also has the shadow of the Elder of the Punishment Hall behind it. Now, in front of everyone, it would be extremely inappropriate for me to rashly join. Fang Yuan hesitated for a moment. The smile on Clan Chief Gu Yuebo's face became even more pronounced as he continued. Fang Yuan, if you don't choose, I will appoint you. The elders beside him silently watched, their expressions unchanged, like a group of sculpted statues. HMPH, starting to pressure me, huh? Fang Yuan's eyes flashed, immediately guessing the hidden meaning in Gu Yuebo's words. He was either trying to force Fang Yuan into the Red Mountain sect or the Mo Yan sect. Gu Yuebo, of course, knew perfectly well that he wasn't recruiting Fang Yuan. For him, this action not only cleared his suspicions but also weakened his political enemies and exposed the mysterious force. Killing three birds with one stone. No, absolutely not. I can't let Gu Yuebo decide. It seems I can only choose some motley group. Fang Yuan was about to speak when this happened. A voice rang out from the crowd. Why not join our group? Our small group needs an attacker. Who was it? For a moment, everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice. The speaker was neither tall nor short, with a dark yellow complexion that made his face look sickly, and his triangular eyes gleamed. It's that sick snake Gu Yue Jiao San, someone said, revealing his identity. Gu Yue Jiao San, just a lowly group, with no background whatsoever. The clan leader and elders all showed disappointment. Jiao San, a dark, almost imperceptible glint flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. He and Gu Yue Jiao San were completely unfamiliar with each other. He couldn't recall this insignificant figure in his memory. Why would Jiao San proactively invite him to join? Was it simply because he had won first place in the assessment? How could that be? Only someone as naive as Fang Zheng would have such a foolish idea. But if Jia San himself took the initiative to invite him, given the current situation, it would be a way to resolve the situation. The family's high-ranking members must be very disappointed. Right, ha. Thinking this, Fang Yuan couldn't help but smile, his eyelids drooping to conceal the light in his eyes. Then I'll join your group, Fang Yuan responded, interrupting Gu Yuebo. Is Fang Yuan stupid? He doesn't want to join one of the elite groups, but instead joins the group of that sick snake. Is he out of his mind? Jia San's personality, ha. The Gu masters and students in the courtyard all discussed, their eyes looking at Fang Yuan as if he were an idiot. The faces of the clan chief and elders also darkened. Today's investigation could be disrupted by a Gu Yue Jia-san. No, perhaps Jia-san is also a pawn in the game. No matter what, we must thoroughly investigate this Gu Yue Jiao-san. 3 days later. Snow had fallen all day, and now it was gradually thinning out, the pure white snowflakes swirling in the wind. Mount King Mao was covered in a blanket of white. The mountain branches were bare. Only the pine and bamboo trees remained evergreen, defying the snow and frost. A group of 5 people ran swiftly across the snow. The leader, neither tall nor short, with a sickly, sallow complexion, was none other than Gu Yue Jiao-san. As he ran, he glanced at his cheek. Looking towards Fang Yuan, who remained silently beside him, he smiled gently. Fang Yuan, you don't need to be nervous. Although this is your first time undertaking a family mission, the mission's content is quite simple. Just learn as you go along with us. Okay, Fang Yuan replied indifferently, his eyes fixed straight ahead, his expression calm. It was already winter. Running swiftly across the snow, the biting winter wind made it even colder. Each breath felt like eating a scoop of ice cream, filling his chest with a freezing sensation. Fang Yuan's already pale complexion was further accentuated by the white snow. As he ran, tiny snowflakes continuously fell on his hair, shoulders, and eyebrows. Unlike before, Fang Yuan had changed into a different set of clothes. This was a dark blue martial arts uniform, the upper half a long-sleeved shirt, the lower half trousers, leg coverings made of bamboo strips, pointed bamboo shoes, a light blue headband tied around the forehead, the ends fluttering in the air as Fang Yuan ran, and a wide belt around his waist. The belt was dark blue, inlaid with a copper plate, engraved with the character 1, making it extremely striking. Leg coverings, protective coverings worn around the calves during martial arts training and strenuous activity. This was the attire of a Gu master, signifying Fang Yuan's status as a first-rank Gu master. Young men who had studied in the academy for a year were only eligible to wear such clothing after leaving. This outfit held extraordinary significance. Once worn, it represented transcending the mortal class, escaping the lowliness, and entering nobility, placing one in the upper echelons of human society. Although a first-rank Gu master is only the lowest tier of this upper class. From now on, any mortal who sees Fang Yuan must proactively step aside and respectfully bow. Gu Yue Jiao-san's eyes couldn't help but flash. The attire Fang Yuan wore, combined with his indifferent expression, immediately exuded an air of experience and coldness. While running, he continued to speak to Fang Yuan. We often have to move at lightning speed when carrying out missions outside. Running this fast is just normal. Fang Yuan, are you used to it? So. Fang Yuan was sparing with his words, glancing at Gu Yue Jiao-san out of the corner of his eye. The warm smile on Jiao-san's face reminded him of the human ancestor's mythology. The story goes that the human ancestor used 2 Gu gus of rules, gaining strength but losing wisdom, leaving him with only 3 Gu gus: doubt, belief, and attitude. The human ancestor captured the attitude Gu. The ancient attitude, having been subdued by the bet, fell into the hands of the ancestor. It said to the ancestor, "Human, you have captured me, and I can only consider myself unlucky. From now on, I will be at your disposal. You only need to wear me to activate my power." The ancient attitude's appearance resembled a mask. The ancestor tried to put the ancient attitude on his face, but it wouldn't stay on, even when tied securely with a string. What's going on? The ancestor was very frustrated. The ancient attitude then laughed. I know now. Human, it turns out you no longer have a heart. Attitude is the mask of the heart. Without a heart, how can you wear me? Only then did the ancestor realize that he had long ago given his heart to hope. He had become heartless. A heartless person cannot wear the mask of attitude. In other words, For those with a discerning mind, attitude is just a mask. Asterisk. This translation doesn't quite capture the essence. So let me explain a little further. The ancestor gave his heart to the ancient hope. So the ancestor became a heartless person, also known as a mindless person. The one who can wear the ancient attitude is a person with a heart. Also known as a mindless person, this term refers to those who are scheming, exploiting, and harming others. A gentle attitude is just a mask that Gu Yue Ju San wears. What is he really plotting? Fang Yuan pondered in his mind. The so-called sick snake Ju San was observing Fang Yuan, and Fang Yuan was also secretly observing him. Chapter 88, Showing Off. Making things difficult and depressing. In the snow-covered landscape, the 5-person team sped along. Gu Yue Jiao San looked at the sky and casually said, "It's getting late. This mission is to collect frozen decaying mud, which, although simple, takes a lot of time. We must speed up. Everyone, follow me closely and try not to fall behind. Fang Yuan, if you can't hold on any longer, just tell us. It's okay, you're new, we'll take care of you." Gu Yue Jiao San's smile was very gentle. Fang Yuan nodded. Saying nothing, the other 3 members exchanged glances. Actually, it was still early, and Jiao San's actions were unnecessary. In fact, he was just trying to show off to Fang Yuan. The 3 of them knew this but didn't expose him in reality. This kind of show-off was quite common. When a new member joins the squad, the older members will, to a greater or lesser extent, do the same to break the newcomer's arrogance, making it easier to give orders and manage them later. "Go!" Jia San shouted softly, his footsteps quickening as he led the charge. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed, and he and the other 3 quickened their pace, following closely behind. Their pointed bamboo boots left deep footprints on the accumulated snow. The rugged mountain terrain was already difficult to navigate, especially after being covered in snow, making it easy to slip. Moreover, the snow had fallen, making it unpredictable. Who knew if there were sharp rocks or pits beneath? Stepping on a hunter's trap would be even worse. Life in this world was very difficult. This seemingly easy task of rushing forward required a great deal of skill. And many newcomers had stumbled and fallen because of it. Only those ancient masters who have undergone long training, enduring countless hardships and accumulating experience, can effectively avoid obstacles. The biting east wind lashed against their faces as Fang Yuan sped through the snow-covered landscape. Sometimes he leaped. Sometimes he ran long distances. Sometimes he climbed. Sometimes he stumbled along, closely following behind Ju San. The entire Qingmao mountain was covered in a blanket of snow. Many bare branches devoid of leaves. Occasionally, squirrels or deer, disturbed by the group, would scatter into the distance. After half an hour, Ju San suddenly stopped. Having reached their destination, he turned to look at Fang Yuan, a smile of praise on his lips. "Not bad. Fang Yuan, you truly live up to your reputation as the top student this year. Always staying close behind me without falling behind." Fang Yuan chuckled, saying nothing. He was well aware of this kind of show of force. In fact, the rapid running across the snow had become a traditional act, and many small teams used this method to temper the tempers of newcomers. The 2 of them waited for a while, and the remaining 3 members finally arrived with difficulty. They panted, their foreheads covered in sweat, their faces flushed. 2 of them bent over, supporting themselves with their hands, while the 3rd slumped down onto the snow. Jiao San glared at the 3 of them, softly scolding, "Stand up straight, aren't you ashamed? Look at Fang Yuan, then look at yourselves. HMPH. After this mission is completed, all of you will go back and reflect on your actions." The 3 quickly straightened up, their heads bowed, too intimidated by Jiao San's reprimand to even lift their heads or utter a word of protest. However, their gazes towards Fang Yuan had subtly changed. How strange. How can this Fang Yuan be so skilled? He hasn't fallen once from beginning to end. Oh, our strength is just average. How can we compare to this prodigy? Quote, HMPH. We didn't get to see anything interesting. Instead we ended up being sacrificed. This guy. All right, let's all cheer up. Ju-san pointed forward. This small valley is our destination. Inside, there's a large amount of frozen mud that can be collected. We'll split up to collect it. And then regroup here after an hour. Kong Jing. Distribute the tools now. As soon as Ju-san finished speaking, a male team member named Gu Yue Kong Jing stood up. He extended his hand horizontally, and a yellow light shot out from his abdomen, stopping in the middle of his palm. The yellow light disappeared, revealing a clear shape, a yellow-backed frog. This plump golden frog had an enormous, snow-white belly that bulged out, making it look like a round ball. Its eyes and mouth were pushed up to the top of its head by this belly, compressed into one place. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. He immediately recognized this goo worm. It was a second-stage goo worm, the great pot-bellied frog. Then, a small amount of red iron true essence flowed from Kong Jing's hand, which the great pot-bellied frog absorbed. Rumble. The great pot-bellied frog let out a resounding croak, opening its mouth and spitting out a tiny shovel. The shovel flew through the air, rapidly growing larger, and in an instant, it landed on the ground as a shovel about half the height of a person. Rumble, rumble, rumble. It continued to croak several times, spitting out a tool each time. Finally, 5 shovels and 5 wooden boxes piled up on the snow in front of everyone, each box having 2 straps attached. Goo masters who cultivate goo worms face a heavy burden, hence the limited number of goo worms. In the initial stages, it's very difficult for goo masters to face complex situations and a series of troubles alone. Therefore, they usually act in small groups. In a group, there is a scout, an attacker, a defender, a healer, and a logistics supporter. The male goo master Kong Jing who just stepped forward is clearly the logistics goo master. The great dumpling goo worm he possesses is a typical logistics goo worm. Its belly has a spacious storage area. Of course, each goo worm has its strengths and weaknesses. The great dumpling goo worm's drawback is that, besides its limited storage space, it makes a gurgling sound every time it spits out something, which is quite annoying, especially when goo masters are hiding on the battlefield. Improper handling could reveal their location. Furthermore, the great doer cannot store goo worms, nor is it immune to toxins, so it cannot store poisonous objects. After distributing the tools, each person in the team had a shovel and a wooden box. Let's go. Ju-san waved his hand and led the way into the valley. Fang Yuan, carrying a shovel and a wooden box, chose a different direction. After all, he's still a newcomer, so enthusiastic. Ha. Is frozen mud really that easy to collect? Without careful distinction, you might end up collecting ordinary frozen mud, wasting your efforts. Quote, in fact, it's very difficult to distinguish. The color difference between frozen mud and ordinary frozen mud isn't significant. Especially under snow cover, newcomers often only find it by luck. The 3 team members secretly chuckled to themselves as they watched Fang Yuan's retreating back. But after an hour, when they saw Fang Yuan return victorious, carrying a box full of frozen clay, they all widened their eyes in astonishment. Including Ju-san, their wooden boxes contained at most half a box of frozen clay. Seeing Fang Yuan's box, they were even embarrassed to open their own haul. It's all frozen clay, one team member meticulously checked, becoming even more surprised. Fang Yuan, how did you collect so much? A female team member couldn't suppress her suspicion and curiosity. Fang Yuan slightly raised his eyebrows, the light reflecting from the snow-covered ground shining into his eyes, which were both cold and clear. He chuckled faintly. The elders of the academy once said that frozen mud is a common resource that only appears in muddy ponds after ice and snow freeze. It's black with a hint of purple, and the smell is truly foul. but it's masked by the freezing ice. It's the food of the stinky fatworms. Incredibly fertile, and is often mixed with mud to fertilize wheat seedlings and vegetables. The clan's announcement of this mission is probably just to fertilize the moon orchids in the underground caves. These words left the four stunned. These theories are certainly taught in the academy, but connecting theory to practice is quite difficult. Could it be that this Fang Yuan has personally collected frozen mud before? The three clan members exchanged glances. Ju San's eyes flashed, and he smiled, saying, "Fang Yuan, well done." He praised them, but the usually cheerful expression on his face was now somewhat stiff. Zhao San turned and continued, "So, our mission is complete. Everyone hand over the shovels and wooden boxes to Kong Jing, and we'll return." It was afternoon when they returned to the mountain stronghold. As the five of them left the internal affairs hall, Zhao San distributed all 6 raw stones they had obtained from the mission. He received 2, and the others each received 1. Having obtained the raw stones so easily, smiles appeared on the faces of the team members. Fang Yuan silently accepted the spirit stones, calmly saying nothing, only thinking to himself. For a new member of the team, the family will increase the mission reward accordingly, as a kind of allowance to help the newcomer. The reward for collecting frozen mud is a maximum of 2 spirit stones. But because of me, it's doubled. Logically, they should be showing me favor. If rushing through the snow-covered area is showing off, deliberately collecting alone is making things difficult. But this kind of distribution of spirit stones is oppression. 1 or 2 spirit stones was nothing to Fang Yuan. He didn't care. He was just puzzled. He and Gu Yue Zhao San were strangers. So why would he oppress him? Could it be? Fang Yuan suddenly thought of something. Chapter 89. A sick snake coiled around my leg. 5 people stood beside the road. Gu Yue Zhao San smiled gently and said to Fang Yuan, "Brother Fang Yuan, your performance has truly made us see you in a different light. It seems that inviting you to join was the right decision. You've just left the academy, and there are some things you don't understand. Below, I'll introduce them to you. First, there are family missions. Each Gu master must complete at least 1 mission per month. The more you complete, the better you perform, and the higher your evaluation. Second, there are missions issued by the Internal Affairs Hall or the External Affairs Hall. Each Gu master can only choose 1 at a time, and once accepted, it must be completed. Third, under special circumstances, Gu masters can choose to skip a mission. However, their evaluation will be greatly reduced as a result. Moreover, first-rank Gu masters don't have the right to skip missions. Only second-rank Gu masters have this right. However, they can only skip 1 mission per year. Fourth, the clan's evaluation is extremely important, related to the future of the clan. The higher the evaluation, the broader and brighter the future. Fang Yuan listened, nodding his head. He had long since memorized these things. Gu Yue Zhao San was right, not deceiving him, but there were many crucial points he didn't reveal all at once. All right, we've just completed the task of collecting frozen mud. Next, I've taken on a deer hunting mission. The danger level is very low. Very suitable for you, Fang Yuan, to practice, Zhao San said to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan chuckled inwardly, but outwardly said, "Thank you for your consideration, team leader." Gu Yue Kong Jing immediately chimed in. Fang Yuan, you should thank the team leader a lot. The mission is simple and easy to complete, but the reward is very low. The team leader did this to help you. 2 other female Gu masters chimed in. That's right. That's right, little brother Fang Yuan. Words of thanks are not as good as actions. How about you treat the team leader to a meal? Little brother Fang Yuan, you've just left the academy, and the outside world is very complicated. Social relationships are quite important. If you don't understand anything, just ask us during dinner. Gu Yue. Zhao San laughed heartily, deliberately waving his hand and saying, "Don't make things difficult for Fang Yuan anymore. He's just left the academy. He doesn't have many spirit stones in his hands. He's very short of money. How can that be, leaving aside other things? Just getting first place in the year-end examination alone is enough to get 100 spirit stones as a reward. One female Gu master deliberately exclaimed, then feigned a hint of envy. Speaking of which, I'm really envious of you. Team leader, you've misjudged our Fang Yuan. How could he be so petty? Fang Yuan, isn't that right? Gu Yue Kong Jing laughed heartily, seemingly very casually. Another female Gu master approached Fang Yuan, appearing very familiar, and said, Fang Yuan, let me kindly tell you something. You don't have to flatter us, but you absolutely must flatter the team leader. You know, part of the evaluation of our team members is done by the team leader. If he says excellent, it's excellent. If he says poor, it's poor. That's right. That's right. Evaluations are extremely important to us Gu masters. An excellent evaluation will please the high-ranking members of the family. A prominent resume can shorten many years of hard work. Kong Jing immediately chimed in. Throughout the whole process, Gu Yue Jiao San watched with a beaming smile. Finally, he waved his hand, his expression gentle, a friendly smile on his face. Hey, everyone, stop talking nonsense. My evaluations are all objective and fair, and I won't be easily bribed by you. But, Fang Yuan, rest assured, you're a newcomer. If you join our team, I will definitely take your evaluation into account and arrange things accordingly. If it were an ordinary teenager, they would probably have been overwhelmed by these people's words. Secretly moved, it was truly bullying a newcomer who didn't understand the rules. Childish and naive. But Fang Yuan's eyes remained calm and indifferent. The team leader participating in the evaluation of team members was a fact. It was the family system granting power to subordinates, giving the team leader authority to manage each sub-team effectively. However, this was absolutely not as serious as these people were saying. In the clan's evaluation, the clan leader's comments were only a very small part. The majority was still the work of the Internal Affairs Hall. But ultimately, even if the clan leader's evaluation of a clan member had a huge influence, what difference did it make? Fang Yuan didn't care about these evaluations at all. He had long since made up his mind to quickly improve his cultivation, reach the third transformation, and leave this place. He absolutely did not want to waste 100 years in this clan, dedicating his life to it. In the eyes of the narrow-minded Gu masters here, evaluations were the most important thing. But to Fang Yuan, those so-called evaluations were worthless. Therefore, the veiled threats of these Gu masters had absolutely no effect on Fang Yuan. I understand what everyone is saying. I have some other matters to attend to. I'll leave first. Fang Yuan remained silent for a moment before speaking. Huh? Immediately, the four Gu masters were all very surprised. What does this mean? Did you not hear what we just said? A female sorceress glared, inwardly screaming. Is your listening comprehension really that bad? At this moment, Gu Yue Kong Jing really wanted to grab Fang Yuan by the collar and question him right in front of him. Jiao San's mouth twitched slightly. Fang Yuan's indifference made their earlier back and forth seem like a farce, turning their carefully laid plans into a joke. Watching Fang Yuan's retreating back, he felt an indescribable surge of anger. Hey, Fang Yuan, don't leave so quickly, don't listen to these people's nonsense. Jiao San forced himself to swallow his anger, putting on a smile, and hurried after Fang Yuan to stop him. You want to rent a room? Right, let's go with you. I have a few connections and I'm quite familiar with the situation. I do want to rent a room. The school dormitory is no longer habitable. Does the group leader have any instructions? Fang Yuan slightly raised his eyebrows, his expression calm. I know a few rooms that are quite cheap, and the location is also good. Jia San smiled enthusiastically, leading the way as if he were eagerly doing a good deed. This room of mine, the rent is 15 spirit stones a month. That's a good price. HMPH. 8 spirit stones and you want to rent my room? Dream on. You must pay a deposit. 1 month's rent plus 3 months' rent. Other places do the same. This room of mine has very good feng shui. And it's quiet at night. Most importantly, it's close to the family head's residence. You all know how good this area is. The price isn't expensive either. Only 25 spirit stones a month. Even as dusk fell, Fang Yuan still hadn't decided which room to rent. Fang Yuan, you're too stingy, even in such a large mountain stronghold. The market price is around this level. If it were me, I'd rent a room near the family head's residence. The second floor is very spacious. And the view isn't bad either. Little brother Fang Yuan, don't be so stingy. It's only 25 primeval stones. The first place reward you have is enough for you to stay for 4 months. The 2 female Gu masters advised him with ill intentions. Fang Yuan shook his head. I don't have many primeval stones. I can't waste them like that. Then rent a room in the underground level. It's quite cheap there, Gu Yue Kong Jing suggested, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly. This Kong Jing's intentions were truly vicious. This mountainous area was already damp. And now it was winter. Staying in an underground room meant poor air circulation, making it easy to catch a cold. Even if he didn't get sick, staying there for too long would cause joint problems. Seeing that Fang Yuan didn't reply, Ju San spoke up. Actually, a single-story house isn't bad either, if you share it with others. The rent will be a little cheaper. Fang Yuan shook his head. I want to live alone. I don't like sharing a room. Gu Yue Kong Jing snorted, displeased. You don't want this, you don't want that. It's not that I want to criticize you. But Fang Yuan, you're too picky, your standards are too high. It's unrealistic. Hearing this, Fang Yuan couldn't help but inwardly sneer, even if it truly meets the standards. I absolutely won't accept any of the rooms you recommend. His double dealing this time was merely a precaution, to see if there were any traps. Just as Fang Yuan was about to say goodbye to these people, Madame Shen appeared. Young Master Fang Yuan, we've found you. You can't stay in the academy dormitory anymore. The master and mistress have prepared a banquet and specifically asked me to come and invite you home. How much better it is to stay at home. Why bother renting a room outside? She persuaded him. Finally, she's here. Fang Yuan inwardly chuckled coldly. This old woman arrived at just the right time, finding her way here in a flash. Someone must have tipped her off. This was exactly as he had predicted. The masterminds behind it all were his uncle and aunt. Chapter 90. It's just a little bit of wind and frost. In the living room, the lamps blazed brightly. On the round dining table, the wine had waned, and the food had grown cold. Bright red candlelight flickered, casting the shadows of the uncle and aunt onto the wall. Their shadows merged into one, swaying vaguely in the candlelight. Grandma Shen knelt before them. The 9th uncle broke the silence. I never imagined that Fang Yuan would still defy me even in death. Alas, I originally wanted to persuade him, to keep him in the house for now, and then find a reason to expel him. But this brat didn't fall for it. He's determined, and he immediately refused my invitation, leaving no opportunity for negotiation. He wouldn't even take a step through this threshold of ours. The aunt gritted her teeth, her expression somewhat fearful. Now this ungrateful little wolf is 16 years old. If he demands the inheritance, we can't refuse. The inheritance we took back then was all clearly registered in the Internal Affairs Hall. There's no denying it. So what do we do now? Quote, you may leave first. After waving to Shen Mama to leave, the uncle sneered. Don't worry, Mom, I've already devised a plan this past year. First, to live separately, one must have reached the mid-stage of the first turn cultivation level. Fang Yuan achieved this long ago, and even reached the peak, even winning first place at the end of the year. It truly made people look at him in a different light. But, successfully dividing the inheritance isn't that easy. The mid-stage of the first turn cultivation level is merely a prerequisite. It's a decision to divide the inheritance. Fang Yuan still has to ask for permission, and only after the Internal Affairs Department approves it will they announce the task and assess whether Fang Yuan is qualified. This is also the family's policy to prevent the haphazard division of inheritance, which could lead to internal strife and weaken the family's strength. Auntie suddenly understood. So, Fang Yuan has to complete this task to get his parents' inheritance. That's right, Uncle said with a sinister smile. However, the Internal Affairs Department's tasks are always announced to the small groups. This inheritance task is no exception. If Fang Yuan wants to complete it, he must rely on the abilities of the entire group. He can't do it alone. The family is doing this to consolidate the groups, encourage unity among members, and increase solidarity. Auntie laughed heartily. Master, you are truly wise. Let Ju-san accept Fang Yuan into the group. In that way, if Fang Yuan wants to complete the inheritance quest, he needs them, but Ju-san is one of us. His uncle's eyes were filled with smugness as he said, HMPH, even if I don't recruit him into the group, I have other ways to deal with him. Don't even talk about completing the mission. He might not even be able to ask for permission to split the family and take over the inheritance. Night fell, and the snow stopped falling. Fang Yuan walked along the street, the bamboo houses on both sides covered in a layer of white snow. His footsteps on the snow made a soft rustling sound. The crisp, cool air inhaled into his body, making Fang Yuan's mind incredibly clear. After refusing Granny Shen, Fang Yuan ignored the attempts of Ju-san and the others to stop him, bid farewell to everyone, and acted alone. So that's it, he thought as he walked. My uncle and aunt want to hinder me, delay me, and make me lose the opportunity to reclaim the inheritance. Next year I'll be 16, and I'll have the right to live independently. My parents are dead, and my younger brother has already taken in his parents. If we succeed, all the inheritance will be ours. But to reclaim this inheritance, the process is divided into 2 steps, each with many challenges. The first step requires that I myself must be free of any tasks. Then I must go to the Internal Affairs Department to request permission. The second step is to complete the inheritance task announced by the Internal Affairs Department. Only then will I be qualified to claim the inheritance. Quote, Jia-san and his uncle and aunt are in cahoots, not to mention the second step. They already want to hinder me in the first step. The family rules stipulate that Gu masters can only complete one task at a time. This is to prevent Gu masters from taking on tasks indiscriminately, creating unhealthy competition within the family. Jia-san continuously accepts tasks, having just completed the task of collecting frozen mud. He immediately receives a new task, hunting deer. The family's tasks are issued to the entire group. In other words, according to the rules, within the clan, Fang Yuan absolutely had to complete this deer hunting mission before he could request to leave and live independently. But by then, I believe Ju-san will definitely take on another mission. He's the leader. In terms of mission assignment, he's always one step ahead of me. I'm one step behind, wanting to request a branching mission, but he keeps getting in my way. Thinking of this, a cold glint flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. These insidious schemes were truly troublesome, like an invisible rope binding Fang Yuan's progress. But Fang Yuan didn't regret joining this group. The situation at the martial arts arena at that time put him in a difficult position. And Ju-san's invitation actually saved him. If he hadn't entered this group, he was certain his uncle and aunt had other, more difficult to prevent methods. Now that he was in this group, he could see their arrangements more clearly, allowing him to calmly counterattack. There are ways to resolve this trouble. The simplest and most direct method is to eliminate Ju-san and assassinate my uncle and aunt. Then no one will compete with me for the inheritance. But this method is too dangerous. They are all second-rank Gu masters, and my first-rank cultivation is still a bit low. Moreover, even if I kill them, there's no way to properly deal with the consequences. Unless there's a perfect opportunity, we can seize it, but such opportunities are usually only encountered, not sought after. Fang Yuan was able to kill the servant Gao Wan and execute the entire Wang family because they were all mortals. Servants, their lives as worthless as grass. Killing them was like killing a dog or breaking a blade of grass, nothing significant. But assassinating a Gu master was much more troublesome. Gu masters all had the Gu Yue surname. They were all clan members. No matter who died, it would lead to a thorough investigation by the family's punishment hall. Fang Yuan estimated his own strength. Killing someone now was very dangerous. He might even be killed in return. Even if he succeeded, the punishment hall's investigation would be an even greater problem. Not only would his future actions be monitored, but he might also uncover the hidden treasures of the Hua Ju practitioner. To eliminate a small nuisance only leads to a nuisance 100 times greater. This is not something a wise person would do. We've arrived, Fang Yuan murmured, stopping before a dilapidated bamboo house. The house was crumbling and tattered, like a frail old man on the verge of death, hunched over, clinging to his last breath in the cold winter wind. Looking at the house, Fang Yuan's face showed a nostalgic expression. This was his rented room in his previous life. Back then, he had been kicked out of the house by his uncle and aunt. With less than 15 spirit stones in his hand, after sleeping on the streets for several days, he found this place. The room was very old and run down, so the rent was much lower than elsewhere. Moreover, other places charged monthly or quarterly, while this one charged daily. I don't know if my uncle and aunt have set traps elsewhere, but my memories from my previous life tell me that, at least, there aren't any here. Fang Yuan pulled open the door. Half an hour later, after agreeing on the room rental, he was led by the landlord to a room on the second floor. The floor was old and worn, and the sound of his footsteps was unsettling. The room was sparsely furnished, containing only a bed and a quilt. The quilt was patched and riddled with holes, revealing the yellowed cotton stuffing. A kerosene lamp sat by the bedside. After lighting it, the owner left. Fang Yuan didn't sleep but sat cross-legged on the bed, beginning his cultivation. Within his primordial sea in his aperture, waves rose and fell, surging and disappearing. Every drop of water was a deep blue. The four walls of his aperture were a solid, semi-transparent white glass-like membrane, a phenomenon typical of a peak first-stage cultivator. Suddenly, the bronze primordial sea began to surge with massive waves, like a pack of wild beasts suddenly going mad, charging headlong against the aperture walls in a suicidal attack. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The massive waves crashed violently against the aperture walls, the foam shattering into shimmering green particles before vanishing completely. In a short time, the surface of his primordial sea quickly dropped, most of his primordial energy rapidly depleting. Cracks appeared on the thick, sturdy glass membrane. But they were just cracks. Far from enough. If Fang Yuan wanted to break through to the peak of the second transformation, he absolutely had to completely collapse this glass membrane, breaking it down and then rebuilding it. The dark blue true essence continuously impacted the glass membrane, and the cracks on it multiplied, gradually merging into a single patch. In some places, the cracks became deeper, forming clearly visible fissures. However, when the essence sea was depleted, and there wasn't enough true essence to continue the impact, the cracks on the glass membrane began to close, gradually disappearing. Fang Yuan wasn't surprised. He simply withdrew his spirit and opened his eyes. The lamp was out, and there wasn't much oil left. The room was completely dark, with only a faint light filtering in through the window crack. There was no fireplace, and the room wasn't warm at all. Fang Yuan sat cross-legged on the bed, having been inactive for a long time. He felt his body growing colder. His dark eyes blended seamlessly with the shadows. Actually, To break through Jiao San's encirclement. There's a simpler and safer way than killing someone: advancing to the second rank. First rank Gu Masters don't have the right to skip missions. But second rank Gu Masters do. Once a year. If I advance to the second rank and directly skip the missions I can request a branch family. Quote. However, breaking through to the second rank isn't that easy. Thinking this, Fang Yuan sighed inwardly. He got out of bed and slowly paced back and forth in the small, cramped room. From the initial stage to the middle stage. And from the middle stage to the high stage. These are minor realm advancements. From the peak of the first transformation to the second transformation. This is a major realm breakthrough. The difficulty between the two is incomparable. Simply put, to break through the glass membrane, one needs explosive power, generating enough force to shatter the glass membrane in a short period of time. However, Fang Yuan only has a C-grade aptitude, and the amount of true essence in his origin C is only 44%. If he were to unleash his full power and impact the glass membrane, his true essence would be almost completely depleted in a short time. Just like before, after his true essence was completely exhausted, he couldn't continue the impact. The glass membrane has the ability to self-repair, and it wouldn't take long for it to heal completely. All of Fang Yuan's previous efforts would become useless. To break through the glass membrane and reach the second transformation, excluding special circumstances, one usually needs at least 55% of dark green true essence. But my aptitude is limited. At most only 4 out of 4. That's why people often say, aptitude is the second most important thing in cultivating as an ancient master. Thinking this, Fang Yuan slowly stopped. Unbeknownst to him, he walked to the window. So he casually pushed it open. Outside the window, the bamboo trembles in the wind. Opening the window, snow covered the mountains. Under the moonlight, the snow was like white jade. The world before him like a crystal palace, untouched by a single speck of dust. The light reflected from beneath the snow illuminated Fang Yuan's youthful face. His expression was calm. His eyebrows relaxed, his eyes like a still stream under the moonlight. The cold wind struck his face, and the young man suddenly smiled. It's just a little bit of wind and frost. You've just finished watching the episode 9 of the Reverend Insanity series on the Midnight Story Bureau YouTube channel. Please leave any comments or suggestions in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to give me motivation to make more videos.